Erev Tov.
Erev Tov.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem, Parach. It is. It's great. It's good. Times are good. Purim's around the corner. Adar coming up next week. Bezrat Hashem. That's the first sign of spring for us here in Canada. Although I don't remember the last Purim where it was actually warm weather. It's always like freezing here on Purim. It's like an ice storm, or it's like a false hope of springtime. We don't get spring in Toronto. We just go straight to summer. And anyways, it's a long weekend this weekend here in Canada, Family Day. Excited to be spend a little bit some more time with the familia. I'm off from work a little bit, so I don't know about you guys, but I'm off a little bit. Starting tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're not bad, right?
Well, that's amazing.
A long
Pretty
weekend,
good.
a little extra long weekend.
Right on. Like it.
And I guess my vacation will consist of really nothing. Just sometimes a good vacation is just taking it easy and just let get time to unwind a little bit. I don't know. That's just it's hard because even me, I find myself when I'm on vacation, like I'm still thinking about what's going to happen after vacation, right? So I'm like preparing. I'm always like thinking, preparing, and I don't know. I think maybe the next 4 days, and we're just gonna, other than Shabbat, because I'm still working on Shabbat, but like it's just maybe time to just relax, be with the kids a bit, and maybe that was his intention. Our previous prime minister, when he instituted Family Day, I'm pretty sure it was Trudeau, right? Was it Trudeau?
Trudeau did Family Day? Was it him?
Was it before? I think it was Trudeau in his early years. I think it could have been maybe before. I don't know when first.
Yeah, do a Google search.
It wasn't long ago. It's not. It's a recent thing. Family Day. It's not. Relatively recent. How you guys been doing?
Cold. I just got over a flu and last week, and it's been leaving 36, 37 degree weather and coming to minus 37 weather.
It really is
terrible.
Unbelievable how there is a 50+ degree difference for like a 3.5, 4 hour flight. Well, okay, maybe Brazil's a bit longer, but like still, like it's crazy.
Yeah, mine's longer, but still, Caribbean.
But we went through the last 3-4 weeks was just brutal here, and lived up to Canadian winters for sure. It's like hard to leave the house, don't get fresh air. Walking to bed, Knesset. This past Shabbat was the worst. I don't know about
very
you.
Cold.
It was it's been a while since I had to, like, even with the big coat and like, I had the toque, I had the hood, I had the fur, I had the scarf, and then the wind was just blowing me all over the place. It was not pleasant.
No, the craziest thing happened to me coming to Shul Shabbat was that I had every part of myself covered, everything, and what was hurting? My eyes. My eyes were freezing because you got to keep your eyes open so you could see, right? And I had a pain in my eyes from the cold that it's just it's nuts. Now I don't care what anybody says. This is the worst winter that I remember ever being here in this city. I remember the mid 70s, 76, 77, there was a big snowstorm. 76.
Before I was
maybe
born.
75. There was a huge snowstorm on Mimona. It was April. But a snowstorm that we were walking Riedel. I was walking with my grandmother and
my aunts and uncles recall that storm. I think even hit Montreal. I think it was a Mimona snowstorm.
No, that was terrible. But again, it was one shot, right? But we've had snow since November. It hasn't stopped snowing since November, and the cold for this consistent, this many days in a row. I've never seen this here in this part of the world. But anyway, it is what it is. And I missed. So one other thing I wanted to point out. So we were away for a while, and I think we did one. We did one. I was shocked when I was on vacation. I decided, it was late at night. Everyone was sleeping. I couldn't fall asleep as usual when I'm away. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch one of our podcast episodes, right? So the craziest thing is I was shocked. I thought we did maybe 7 or 8.
No, this is number 19. We're on number 19 right now.
We're like, I'm shocked at how many podcasts we've already done. And I got into trouble because I got so excited listening to one of the podcasts. I think it was episode 6. I don't remember, that I put the volume loud. It was 2 a.m. I put the volume loud. I got attacked by 3. Like my sons came out running, screaming, "What are you listening to? What are you listening to?" And then they go, "Wait a second, that's your voice." They couldn't believe I was watching the 3 of us on. But great. Some of them, listen, I thought it was amazing that we covered so much ground, and Baruch Hashem that we're back. And so I missed you guys. I missed learning, and we're back until Purim's coming, Pesach's coming. But
yeah, okay, whatever. You just go 1 week at a time. That's just when we can do it. We do it.
We cover ground. 19.
Yeah, 19. Chapter 31. That's where we're at to right now. Chapter 31. Amazing. This book, I always show it so that everyone knows where we're reading from. And you can help us understand some of these very, very complex, advanced, and academic words that the author uses. Chapter 31. Should we go?
Let's go.
Yes.
Do it. Okay. So this is the first chapter for the next little bit, where he's not going to speak about a term that is equivocal. And I think that's what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
So let's see what he has to say, and we'll try to dive deep. Know that the human intellect has objects of apprehension that is within its power and according to its nature to apprehend. On the other hand, in that which exists, there also are existence and matters that according to its nature, it is not capable of apprehending in any way or through any cause. The gates of their apprehension are shut before it. There are also in that which exists things of which the intellect may apprehend one state while not being cognizant of other states. The fact that it apprehends does not entail the conclusion that it can apprehend all things, just as the senses have apprehensions, but it is not within the power to apprehend at whatever distance the objects of apprehension may happen to be. Similarly, with regard to other bodily faculties, for the fact that a man is able to carry 200 weights does not mean that he's able to carry 10. The difference in
what does he mean by that? What does he mean by that? What does he mean by that last sentence?
The man is able to
carry, with regard to all other bodily faculties, for the fact that a man is able to carry 200 weights does not mean that he's able to carry 10.
Okay, let's keep reading. I think he's going to answer it right after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The difference in capacity existing between the individuals of the species with regard to sensory apprehensions and all the other bodily faculties is manifest and clear to all men. However, it has a limit, inasmuch as these capacities cannot attain to every distance, however far away, nor every degree, however great it may happen to be. The identical rule obtains with regard to human intellectual apprehensions. There are great differences in capacity between the individuals of the species. This also is manifest and very clear to the men of knowledge. It may thus happen that whereas one individual discovers a certain notion by himself through his speculation, another individual is not able ever to understand that notion. Even if it were explained to him for a very long time by means of every sort of expression and parable, his mind would not penetrate to it in any way, but would turn back without understanding it. This difference in capacity is likewise not infinite. For man's intellect indubitably,
without a doubt,
okay, has a limit at which it stops. There are therefore things regarding which it has become clear to man that it is impossible to apprehend them.
So far, I think what what he's saying is that including the intellect, but with all our faculties, including the intellect, that there's a range. There's a range that man can understand, that man can lift. That's the thing that we weren't understanding about the lifting, the 200 weights, and some can only carry 10. There's a range that humans can understand, but then there comes a point where nobody can understand. I think that's what he's saying so far.
I got it. I got
and then
that.
what one person understands doesn't necessarily mean that another guy can understand.
Correct. That's true. That's
it's within that range. Yeah.
Those points are all true. Those points are all accurate. There's that first point, which is really interesting, where from what he's saying is that just because you understand a piece of something doesn't mean you're going to understand all of something, which is sort of like his permission to himself and to us to study God, right? Because with God, you can't understand everything. It's been told to us by Ramchal over and over again. But doesn't mean that because you can't understand everything, you shouldn't study him, because there are certain things that you can understand, right? I think that's what he's saying in the first paragraph. He's making the point that with apprehension, with knowledge, it doesn't mean because you understand just a piece that you understand it all, or that you can understand it all. You may not be able to. The thing about the 10 and the 200, I think he's again trying to say, if you understand the 200, don't assume that logically, because 200 is more than 10, then you will also understand the 10. It's
right.
two different types of knowledge, and it's possible to get one and not get the other. Mm-hmm. So that I think I'm getting it. I think it's making sense to me.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
This difference in capacity is likewise not infinite, for man's intellect. Indubitably.
Yes.
Second time. Oh, we did this one already. Has a limit which it stops. There are therefore things regarding which has become clear to man that it is impossible to apprehend them. Okay, good. And he will not find that his soul longs for knowledge of them, inasmuch as he is aware of the impossibility of such knowledge, and of there being no gate through which one might enter in order to attain it. Of this nature is our ignorance of the number of stars of heaven, and whether that number is even or odd, as well as our ignorance of the number of the species of living beings, minerals, plants, and other similar things.
We don't even go there, is what he's saying. For certain things, we know we don't have a shot at understanding. We don't even attempt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there are things for the apprehension of which man will find that he has great longing. The sway of the intellect endeavoring to seek for and to investigate their true reality exists at every time and in every group of men engaged in speculation. With regard to such things, there is multiplicity of opinions. Disagreement arises between the men engaged in speculation, and doubts crop up. All this because the intellect is attached to an apprehension of these things. I mean to say, because of its longing for them. And also because everyone thinks that he has found a way by means of which he will know the true reality of the matter.
Yeah, okay.
Now it's not within the power of the human intellect to give a demonstration of these matters, for in all things whose true reality is known through demonstration, there is no tug of war and no refusal to accept the thing proven, unless indeed such refusal comes from an ignoramus who offers a resistance that is called resistance to demonstration.
That is called, okay,
that's a long sentence. Can we read that sentence again?
Now, it is not within the power of the human intellect to give a demonstration of these matters. For in all things whose
it's not within the power. It's not within the power of the human intellect to give the demonstration. What does that mean, to give demonstration? To prove these matters?
I think so.
Yes.
But why is it not? Is that not exactly what we're trying to do?
I think
I don't know which matters he's referring to. These matters.
There's no thing.
Maybe he's talking about the matters that cannot be understood.
the things that we want to know, things that we
No,
see.
no, but I think that sentence has to go combined with the next sentence. It has to be, to make sense, it has to be combined with the next sentence.
Okay.
So if you start with the word now,
Now, it is not within the power of the human intellect to give a demonstration of these matters, for in all things whose true reality is known through demonstration. So
Mhm.
if we are able to prove it, then
Right.
there is no
Yes.
tug of war and no refusal
There's
to
no doubt.
accept the thing proven,
Okay.
It's straight up.
unless indeed such refusal comes from a bobo, from an ignoramus,
Right.
Anama Aretz, who offers a resistance that is called resistance to demonstration.
Mhm.
A resistance to facts. A resistance to facts. Okay. Okay, got it.
Straight up.
Thus you can find groups of people who dispute the doctrine that the earth is spherical and the sphere has a circular motion, and with regard to other matters of this kind.
So I think we've all experienced this sort of a thing when you, in many realms in life, but as it applies to Torah, sometimes you learn something that's fact. It's not disputed. It's pretty straight. But you try to tell somebody, or to teach it to somebody, or to give it over to somebody, and that person just gives you resistance. No matter what you say, even if it's factual, if it can be proven, if it's logical, they just resist it. Right? So you're always going to come across people. That's why I think that's part of what he's bringing this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you find groups of people who dispute the doctrine that no matter what proof, like that the Earth is spherical, that wasn't proven. When
Yeah, he's just saying don't waste your time with that. Like that's not even, those people aren't even important. Whatever's no, but I think the whole point is he's saying these types of topics, that there's different opinions, is not even what we're talking about. We're not talking about those types of topics where there's potential opinions and potential endpoints like math and so on. Like these numbers. Yeah. We're talking about something way different. We're talking about God, which is completely different than these types of knowledge that can be proven or disproven. Right? You're talking about something that is beyond that. I think that's where he's going with all this.
So a good friend, Avi Benchimol, is watching from Montreal. Hi, Avi. How are you? And he put here on the chat, I can show it on the stream here. It might cover Jimmy's face, so I'm sorry, Jim. I will just...
No worries.
He right here. I always explained it and understood it as if we were watching a movie. Hashem will only show you 5 minutes out of a 2-hour movie, for example. And in those 5 minutes, we may try to understand, assume, hypothesize as much as we can, but we will never know for sure because only Hashem knows what will happen, as He is past, present, future. What we may think is a curse, chas v'shalom, in the 5-minute trailer that we saw may be the biggest bracha. Another interesting topic is multidimensional existence, where we can live in multiple dimensions in different times, all in the attempt to bring the Mashiach, but that's for another esoteric conversation. Okay.
It's also interstellar.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Nice comment. Thank you, Avi, for that.
Chazar Baruch. And Mazal Tov on your publishing of a new book, Avi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Avi.
What's the name of the
book? The Coach Avi Method. He's been
this is the first sponsorship we're doing, and we're doing it on the house.
First and it's free. It's not costing you a penny.
It's on the house. Free. We're doing it with love, with ahava, with love. What's what is the name of the book?
The Coach Avi Method.
The Coach Avi Method.
Yeah, pretty sure that's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Can we get it on Amazon?
You can. Yeah, you can.
I guess so. Yeah. Okay. Chazaku Baruch. Chazaku Baruch.
All right. Okay. Yafeh. And fine. So he's going. So he said thus you can find groups of people who dispute the doctrine that the earth is spherical and the sphere is circular motion. These folk do not enter in our purpose. The things about which there is this perplexity are very numerous in divine matters. Few in matters pertaining to natural science and non-existent in matters pertaining to mathematics.
So those are three levels.
Yeah, you got the divine matters, natural
They're,
science, and
they're very complex.
non-existent pertaining to mathematics, because mathematics is either right or wrong, right? It's got to
Correct.
be.
There's no perplexity.
Okay.
So hold on. What is he saying here at the end? That the things about which there is this perplexity are very numerous in divine matters only?
Correct.
Yeah, and then few in natural. Okay, got it. Okay.
The study of Hashem is full of perplexity.
Yes.
That's why it's guide for the perplexed.
Yeah.
Right? But when you're talking about sciences,
So-
there's less perplexity.
So going back to the thing we were discussing, when you're trying to speak to somebody about something like a divine matter, a spiritual matter, it's very hard to prove because you can't prove a lot of the stuff, as we know. You have to believe. You have to have emunah. You can't prove it. So this is where I'm interesting to see what he's going to say here. But this is the difficulty. In divine matters, it's the most difficult, as we know. Right?
Because there isn't that word that we said before. There's it's missing. What was the word we used earlier? That
demonstration.
Because in a lot of concepts, divine concepts, or in the study of Hashem, which is infinite, there is no ability to demonstrate in a physical way, right? So that's very perplexing, which is and the purpose of the book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Alexander Aphrodisias. Okay.
Who's this Alexander Aphrodisias?
The note here says translator's introduction on the influence of this Greek commentator of Aristotle on Maimonides.
Okay.
Says that there are three causes of disagreement about things. One of them is love of domination and love of strife, both of which turn man aside from the apprehension of truth as it is.
That's a very, very...
Yeah, but those are two opposites. Those are two opposites, right?
No, actually, no. It's two subjects, So the love of domination, which is we're plagued in the world. We're plagued.
For me, that's power.
Right.
And then strife is I know I'm wrong, but I just want to disagree with you.
Love of strife is worse. Love of strife is worse.
Huh?
It's worse. It's worse than because love of strife is sinat chinam. You understand? You just want to see strife. The opposite of peace.
Yeah.
That's sinat chinam. That's to do it. At least if you're doing the first one, you're doing it for a purpose. The purpose is I want power. In this case, you don't want power. You don't want nothing. You just want to see problems. You want to see strife, right?
Pinchad. Like when people are pinchad, they're just they get a rise out of other people. So it's very interesting. People that pinchad in I don't know how we translate it in English.
Instigator.
Yeah. Just to cause issues. So that's one of the things that he's saying turns away. Like you won't be able to get to the truth. People that cause instigation. But also the other one is very interesting. Love of domination. Like love of domination is a bigger problem than I think people think it is. It's the cause of all wars. It's the cause of all major conflicts, even within families and everything. Why? What's domination? What's this whole concept of domination? I believe in certain things, and I want to impose my belief on you. I want to force it on you.
Yes.
You must do it the way that I believe.
It's politics. Politics.
It's politics.
We see it in politics all the time. It's
on the world stage, but even within a family or with friends or whatever, you see it. Some people just want to dominate. They just, they want to impose their will on other people.
Correct.
Right? And then you have other people who say, no, you know what? Okay, I believe this way. I'll argue it or whatever. But okay, I respect it. Okay, he thinks this way. Okay.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, agree to disagree. You got it exactly. So it's
Yeah.
very interesting that these first two things that he mentions, and by the way, this is not Rambam. This is this Alexander of Aphrodisias, are two very insightful things. A very strong statement that he makes here. Okay.
All right, so that's the first thing that causes disagreement. The second cause is the subtlety and obscurity of the object of apprehension in itself and the difficulty of apprehending it. Okay. And the third
second
cause.
Yeah,
What?
go ahead. Go ahead. The second
The
cause
third
being
cause is the
what-
ignorance of him who apprehends, and his inability to grasp things that it is possible to apprehend.
So the second
Okay.
one,
Second one, it's not you; it's the matter that is unclear, and the third one, it's you. That you're the issue.
the second cause is the subtlety and the obscurity of the object of apprehension. So the second one is when something is just plain out very difficult to understand.
Yes.
Right? Very difficult. Like it's not really your fault. You're trying and you just can't get it.
Yeah.
And the
The
third
third
one,
thing is you just don't have the ability.
the ability
Yes.
to understand it.
Yeah, it's just you. You're not there.
That is what Alexander mentioned. However, in our times, there is a fourth cause that he did not mention because it did not exist among them. It is habit and upbringing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, big one.
For man has in his nature a love of and an inclination for that to which he is habituated. Thus you can see that the people of the desert, notwithstanding the disorderliness of their life, the lack of pleasures, and the scarcity of food, dislike the towns, do not hanker after their pleasures, and prefer the bad circumstances to which they are accustomed to good ones to which they are not accustomed.
Mhm.
The Bedouins would rather prefer to live as a Bedouin than the city guy.
Then a guy in Tel Aviv.
Their souls, accordingly, would find no repose in living in palaces, in wearing silk clothes, and in the enjoyment of baths, ointments, and perfumes. In a similar way, man has love for and wish to defend opinions to which he is habituated and in which he has been brought up, and has a feeling of repulsion for opinions other than those.
Mhm.
For this reason, also man is blind to the apprehension of the true realities and inclines towards the things to which he is habituated. This happened to the multitude with regard to the belief in his corporeality,
Yes.
and many other metaphysical subjects, as we shall make clear.
The multitude being the area of Rav,
I don't think.
Or just many people.
or just the public in
Yeah,
general. The public in general.
I think this whole concept that up until this point in this book that he's been talking about, that Hashem's not corporeal and not physical, as you mentioned, Jimmy, before, on several occasions, for us it's obvious, but back then was a major.
Yes.
So they grew up thinking it was. That's what he's trying to say. They grew up feeling and understanding that Hashem had some physical properties.
Exactly.
And it's not the truth. That's what that's the whole thing on this chapter.
So why
the truth?
So why did he say that this wasn't around the time of Alexander? Why is it now only with him?
Oh, the fourth. It didn't exist before, he
It
said.
didn't exist before him. Like why?
Yeah, you would think habit and upbringing was always an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah. However, in our times, there's a fourth cause that he did not because it did not exist among them.
Could it be the way that the Greeks thought? The Greeks maybe felt that there was no other habit other than theirs, and their way of life was.
No, I think maybe the opposite, because that's the problem.
What do you?
The problem is that people that fall into habit and the way that they're brought up provides them this resistance to the truth. They don't break free. So maybe the Greeks on opposite of that. maybe I'm speculating here, but maybe the Greeks, they were of a culture that did not that shunned following your upbringing.
And habits.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds
No,
kind
so
of
he seems to be saying clearly that at this point in time, when he's writing, there wasn't this fourth thing, which was habits, which means back then there were no people didn't. The opinion it seems to be that people didn't have habits in those days,
among them. He says,
or didn't follow habits, or they were less inclined to be influenced by.
I think from the beginning of I think from the beginning of time, people were influenced from their upbringing. You know, it's very strange not to. Rabbi, you bring a very good question. It's a very unusual thing, unless the Greeks themselves, because he says among them, unless the Greeks had some kind of weird, and it wouldn't surprise me, I guess, some kind of weird way of living that they taught people, don't follow your family.
Exactly, like they were against it. It was
it's stupid if you do. So don't. Maybe it was entrenched in their culture.
Oh yeah, so I think that's what I meant, right? You know, the love and the desire and the worshiping of the body and everything else is just.
It's the opposite of habit. It's letting it flow, letting your desires flow.
Good point. Yeah.
Without habit,
anything goes. Maybe anything goes culture, and maybe that's why he's saying among them they didn't have this. They didn't have it, but I
think that's what he seems to be saying. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All this is due to people being habituated to and brought up on text that is an established usage to think highly of and to regard as true, and whose external meaning is indicative of the corporeality of God and other imaginings with no truth in them. For these have been set forth as parables and riddles. Ooh, that's a big sentence. Mm-hmm. So the reason why they're blind to the apprehension is due to people being habituated to texts that is an established usage to think highly of, to regard as true, and whose external meaning is of the command of God and of other imaginings with no truth in them, for these have been set forth as parables and riddles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, the whole thing, the whole thesis so far.
They were brought up being taught this, the Shem of the body.
And because they couldn't get past it,
right?
They couldn't get past it. They couldn't get to the truth.
Correct. If you don't realize that there's a problem, you don't look for the truth.
Exactly.
You don't search for the truth.
You don't search for it. So this is the habit and the upbringing is a very important thing, I think, to just speak about for a minute, because it's something that's difficult. You know, it's natural when you're brought up in a house and your whole life since you were a little child, you learn things in a certain way. Your parents talk about it all the time. Your uncles, the circle talks about it all. Your synagogue, maybe, whatever the case may be. It's easier said than done that, hey, they should break free and to get to the truth, but it's very difficult to do. But the truth is, and I'm sure we've all seen some people like this, there aren't that many, but one of the paths to greatness is somebody that grows up in a household and they love their parents and they respect their parents and all, but they can recognize certain things that they've been taught or that they've been exposed to are wrong. Vast majority of the people don't do that. They just keep going, go with the flow, keep going. And so the few that break off, and there are some that do, that break off and say, yeah, I'm going to take the good that I learned, but the things that were not proper, I'm going to do it in a different way. They achieve incredible greatness. Spiritually, I'm not talking about it. It can be in other ways as well. Yeah. But from a spiritual perspective, they've really, really broken through. You know?
I think you're bringing up a very good point. I think because when you look at the studiers of Torah from a young age to adults such as us, you know, if a person remains in the line of thinking and knowledge of the stories and parables that he got at in grade school, okay, that boy and girl is going to grow up, and when their mind expands and their intellect expands, if they're not constantly seeking more, then they will be turned off. They will say like, okay, this just doesn't make this just
Correct.
can't work.
This is silly.
Yeah, and therefore, I think that what you're saying is a good point over here, because they grew up on this habit that they fail to admit that maybe is very face value and not profound, not deep, and then they struggle, and then they're not willing to let go of that and to see what's behind the words or behind the text or behind the story, and that's
out of force of habit.
Yeah,
out of force of how they were raised.
Yeah,
and then you
and that applies not just for our understanding of Hashem, which is what he's referring to, okay, but just in general, when a person just grows up a certain way and follows certain customs, and and we see it in our own community many times. And I'm not here to be like moti laws on our community, but we do see many times like members of our community that are like we'll call them stubborn in a way, like, okay, no, this is the way we did it. Well, that's the way we did it, but like have you ever thought to think that maybe the way you did it was not right? But they won't budge, right? They won't budge, and don't even try to convince them otherwise, because
majority of people, by the way, are in that bucket. Majority of people, unfortunately, they're in that bucket. And you know what? Think about it, having to do for sure with Torah, with Torah study, but think about character traits.
Yeah.
Think about what you learn in your house, habit, and your upbringing, character traits. The hero is the one that takes the good but doesn't take the bad, with no disrespect, but doesn't take the bad. You know how hard that is to do?
Yeah.
But that makes a person like skyrocket spiritually, right? And we've seen stories throughout the Torah, the Gemara, of people like this that grew up in certain homes. They never speak disrespectfully of those homes, but it's clear that they break free. They choose a different path in certain things, and that makes them great. That makes them just
yeah.
So interesting. Okay, so these are the 4 things that prevent someone to get to the truth, right?
Yes.
The causes of disagreement about things is because of these things, these reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just finish the chapter. Do not think, last paragraph, do not think that what we have said with regard to the insufficiency of the human intellect and its having a limit at which it stops is a statement made in order to conform to law. For it is something that has already been said and truly grasped by the philosophers without their having concern for a particular doctrine or opinion. Basically, this is a general thing, nothing to do with Torah and halacha and stuff like that. This is just the way people behave.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a true thing that cannot be doubted except by an individual ignorant of what has already been demonstrated. We have put this chapter before others only with a view to its serving as an introduction to that which shall come after it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, that was good.
Well, now it's going to get it's going to get pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The previous chapters were a little bit more direct. His messages were very clear. This is much more philosophical.
Makes you think.
Different style of writing.
Yeah.
And we need to sort of. I'm going to have to, when we get off, I'm going to read it again. I'm going to try and think about some of these concepts.
I love how he, like, the Rambam being a philosopher himself, there was a certain respect, I feel that the philosophers had. Whether they totally disagreed with the other was irrelevant, but they, like, like he didn't dispel the who is it, this guy Alexander Aphrodisias, right? He didn't dispel him, and he listened to his words. He felt, and then he says at the end, he goes, "This is what all philosophers hold." And I found you don't find that today. You don't find a guy writing a Jewish book is going to start quoting, a non-Jewish, source. But
who did that? You know who did that in our time? The only one that I can think of is Rabbi Jonathan Sachs.
Yeah,
Rabbi Jonathan Sachs.
Yeah, so he would quote. He was such a knowledge, but he knew all these other works outside of Torah, and he would bring them in to teach various things to point out, right? But there's is it a Pirkei Avot that Pirkei Avot or is it Gemara? I think it's in Pirkei Avot somewhere that says, that we learn from the Chachamim of the Jews, but also the Chachamim of the Goyim, right? We have to learn from them also. We don't have to follow their stupidities, but things that they have merit on, like they have knowledge that. I can't remember the exact source, but I've read that before.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good. Gentlemen. Hazaku Baruch.
Hazaku Baruch. The next chapter is a pretty long one, and I'm sure. I think if we get through one chapter a week, they're getting a bit more difficult. Yeah, and they're longer chapters also. Cool. 2 chapters ahead is we may need 2 weeks for.
Yeah.
All right. Enjoy the long weekend, and we'll be in touch.
All the best.